Have you ever met someone and felt something instantly, a strange familiarity, a calm in your chest, or a spark you couldn't explain? You didn't plan for it, you weren't even looking, but suddenly it felt like the universe paused and whispered, "Pay attention." We often think love is loud, fireworks, grand gestures, perfect timing. But sometimes it's quiet, a knowing, a resonance, and while your mind scrambles for logic, your soul already understands. Carl Jung believed that when someone is truly meant for you, it's not just fate, it's the unconscious mind aligning with the outer world. It's deeper than compatibility or common interests. It's about recognition, synchronicity, and inner wholeness reflected back through another person. So how do you know it's real? How do you tell the difference between chemistry and destiny, between a temporary spark and a soul-level encounter? In this video, we'll explore 3 powerful signs Carl Jung noticed, clues from the psyche that reveal when someone enters your life not by chance, but by purpose. If you've ever felt that quiet pull towards someone, stay with me, because what you're feeling may not be just attraction, it may be transformation in disguise. Have you ever met someone and instantly felt something, without a reason, without a story, without logic to back it up? That's not coincidence. That's your soul speaking in its native tongue, symbols. The unconscious doesn't use language the way we do. It speaks through sensations, synchronicities, dreams, and sudden inner shifts. Carl Jung believed the psyche is a symbolic landscape, one that guides us through impressions more than instructions. So when you encounter someone and feel an unexplainable pull, it isn't just emotion, it's meaning rising from deep within. You might not be able to articulate why they feel familiar. You may even doubt it because there are no facts to support your knowing. But your soul doesn't operate on facts, it operates on resonance. That inner knowing, that spark, that calm stillness around them, that symbolic intelligence awakening in you. It's the part of you that's beyond intellect, the part that remembers what your mind forgets. We spend so much time trying to rationalize relationships, but some of the most important ones defy logic entirely. They feel like poetry before they become prose. And that's okay. Not everything that's real needs to be explained. So next time you feel something unspoken, don't rush to define it. Trust that your soul noticed something real before your mind caught up. In the end, what truly matters is not how you understand the connection, but how deeply you feel it. That magnetic pull you feel, the electricity, the spark, the can't stop thinking about them energy. It's powerful, but here's the truth. It's not always love. Sometimes it's a mirror. Carl Jung called it projection. When we're drawn to someone instantly, it's often because they awaken a part of us we've buried, ignored, or forgotten. You may be mesmerized by their confidence because you've repressed your own boldness. You may feel safe with their calm because your inner world is chaotic. Or maybe they bring out a raw vulnerability you've never let yourself touch. That doesn't mean the connection isn't real. It means it's important. These people act like mirrors, showing you the unlived life within you. And yes, that can feel like chemistry. But compatibility, that's something deeper. That's built over time through alignment, awareness, and conscious choice. Projection isn't a flaw, it's a clue. When you feel intensely drawn to someone, ask yourself, what are they showing me about me? What part of myself are they waking up? Attraction in this sense becomes a teacher, not just a temptation. So before you label it fate or forever, pause. Not every spark is a soulmate. Some are soul signals, nudging you to reclaim something you lost along the way. And when you understand that, love stops being about finding someone to complete you and becomes about recognizing the one who helps you find yourself. Have you ever felt irresistibly drawn to someone who seems completely opposite to you, maybe even a little dangerous, intense, or wildly unpredictable? That magnetic pull isn't always romance. Sometimes it's shadow love. Carl Jung described the shadow as the hidden side of your personality, the traits you deny, suppress, or reject. But here's the twist. The shadow isn't just where your wounds live. It's also where your power hides. So when someone embodies something you've disowned, raw confidence, bold sensuality, deep emotional intensity, you may feel a strange attraction. Not because they're the one, but because your soul is craving integration. You might think they complete you, but in truth they reflect what's incomplete within you. That's why the connection can feel intoxicating yet destabilizing. It's not just love, it's a psychological collision. They stir the parts of you you've locked away. This isn't a mistake, it's your psyche's way of saying, it's time to grow. Attraction in this form isn't meant to make you comfortable, it's meant to wake you up. It challenges your self-image, exposes your hidden fears, and invites you to expand beyond who you think you are. Shadow love is a call to reclaim the full spectrum of your being. So instead of running from it or romanticizing it, ask, what is this person showing me about myself? The answer might not be easy, but it will set you free. We're taught to believe that love should feel easy, effortless, like slipping into something warm and familiar. But sometimes the love that truly transforms you doesn't soothe, it shakes you. It doesn't come wrapped in comfort, it comes cloaked in sacred discomfort. There are people who enter your life and challenge your narratives. They don't fit the mold of what you imagined love would look like. They ask hard questions, they trigger insecurities, they mirror parts of yourself you've avoided, and yet, something in you knows they matter. This isn't toxicity, it's transformation. Real connection isn't always about harmony, it's about alignment with your deeper truth. And truth, when it first rises, often causes friction. Carl Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming your whole self, often requires confrontation with the unfamiliar. These people awaken you not because they rescue you, but because they refuse to let you stay asleep. They stir the soul into motion. Their love may not always be soft, but it will be real. It won't always make you feel safe, but it will make you feel seen. They're not here to complete your story, they're here to rewrite it with you. So if you find yourself in a relationship that feels more like growth than comfort, don't run, lean in. Sacred discomfort may be the very sign that your soul is finally stretching into who you were always meant to become. Have you ever met someone and felt instantly at ease, like your body exhaled before your mind could catch up? You didn't know their story, background, or intentions, and yet something inside whispered, "This feels safe." That's not fantasy, that's intuition. Carl Jung believed that intuition was the psyche's way of accessing truths beyond what the conscious mind could rationally explain. It's a kind of deep inner intelligence, non-linear, symbolic, and ancient. Your body and soul are constantly scanning for resonance, even when your mind hasn't caught on. This is why sometimes you just know something or someone matters long before you understand why. It's a sense, a feeling, a frequency that bypasses words and logic. You may not be able to explain it, but you feel it in your bones. In a world that worships logic and evidence, intuition can feel risky. But the soul doesn't move in bullet points, it moves in whispers. It knows what aligns with your path. It recognizes the people who are here to awaken something in you. So if you feel a connection that defies explanation, don't dismiss it just because you can't define it. Some truths are felt, not figured out. Your intuition is a sacred compass, one that points not to safety or comfort, but to growth, alignment, and inner truth. Trust the feeling. Your soul is always a few steps ahead of your mind. Sometimes the most meaningful people walk into your life not when you're ready, but when your soul needs them. You may not have been looking, you may not have felt prepared, but suddenly, there they are, arriving like a whisper from the universe, right on cue. Carl Jung believed that the psyche doesn't attract relationships randomly. It summons them when inner evolution is required. You don't meet someone because you planned it perfectly. You meet them because something inside you is ripening, unfolding, expanding. We often say, right person, wrong time. But what if it's the timing that's right? Even if the relationship doesn't last. Some people don't stay forever, but they arrive at the exact moment your soul is asking to be stirred, awakened, or reshaped. They mirror what you're ready to see. They challenge what you're ready to outgrow. They spark desires you didn't know you were allowed to feel. And even if the ending hurts, the encounter was never a mistake. It served a sacred purpose. Timing is the invisible matchmaker that works behind the curtain of your conscious life. So trust the unexpected, trust the interruptions, trust the arrivals that seem too soon or too late. Because in the soul's unfolding, nothing is random. Every meeting is an invitation, and when someone shows up just as you're becoming someone new, that's not coincidence, that's alignment. Attraction feels like magic, sudden, emotional, powerful. But behind the spark, there's often a deeper story unfolding. When you fall for someone, you're not just drawn to them, you're drawn to a pattern. A familiar emotional script is being replayed, often without your conscious awareness. Carl Jung taught that the psyche is shaped by unconscious patterns, memories, wounds, and unmet needs from childhood or past relationships. These internal imprints become magnets, pulling us toward people who feel oddly familiar, not because they're right for us, but because they resonate with something unresolved. You may find yourself repeatedly attracted to emotionally unavailable partners, or people who trigger your need to prove your worth, or those who mirror the parent you long to be seen by. It's not punishment, it's repetition with purpose. The soul recreates familiar dynamics not to trap you, but to heal you. This is why the question isn't, why do I always fall for the wrong person? The real question is, why does this feeling keep returning? What are you being invited to face, feel, or finally shift? Falling into a pattern doesn't mean the relationship is doomed. It means it's important. It's a mirror, not a mistake. When you become aware of the pattern, you're no longer its prisoner, you're its student. Awareness is the first step toward liberation. You're not broken for repeating the cycle. You're brave enough now to rewrite it. Not everyone enters your life to offer safety or stability. Some come to ignite you, to awaken the parts of you that have gone silent. The vision, the hunger, the sense of magic you used to carry before the world told you to be realistic. These people stir something deep. They make your heart beat faster, not from fear, but from recognition. They don't just mirror who you are, they reflect who you could be. They awaken the dreamer, the artist, the visionary buried beneath survival and routine. Carl Jung saw the imaginal realm, the place of dreams, symbols, and inner visions, not as fantasy, but as a source of divine truth. When someone evokes your creativity, your wild ideas, your sacred longing for more, it's not random, it's meaningful. They are activating a sleeping part of your soul. You may not end up with them in a traditional sense. Their role may not be to stay, but to remind you of what you once believed in, of what you're still capable of. This isn't ordinary love, it's catalytic love. They don't hold your hand, they light your fire. They break the trance of a small life and whisper, remember who you are. So when someone inspires your imagination, don't dismiss it as impractical or fleeting. That spark may be the most sacred thing you've felt in a while, because sometimes the greatest gift a person can give you is the return of your own vision. We're often taught to look for the perfect person, someone who has it all, checks every box, and never disappoints. But love isn't about finding perfection. It's about remembering wholeness. You won't find someone who completes you. You'll find someone who reflects the parts of you you've forgotten or suppressed. Carl Jung believed that when our inner masculine and feminine energies, what he called the animus and anima, are out of balance, we unconsciously seek that balance in others. If your inner masculine is undeveloped, you might be drawn to someone who's decisive, bold, and assertive. If your feminine has been denied, you may long for someone soft, nurturing, or emotionally open. But this isn't just attraction, it's a soul-level mirror. They don't just excite you, they awaken you. True love isn't two halves becoming whole, it's two whole beings, walking beside each other, growing, reflecting, expanding. They don't fill your emptiness, they remind you that you were never truly empty to begin with. So stop searching for someone who has it all. Look for someone who sees all of you and invites the hidden pieces back to life. The goal is not perfection, it's integration. Real love is not flawless. It's honest, reflective, and deeply human. It's a journey where both people become more of themselves, not less. And in that kind of love, you don't lose yourself. You finally find yourself mirrored in another's eyes. We often treat relationships like destinations, milestones to reach, trophies to display, or endings that validate our worth. But Carl Jung saw relationships differently. He believed they were vehicles for individuation, sacred mirrors that reflect who we are becoming, not just who we are with. Not every relationship is meant to last a lifetime. Some arrive only to catalyze change. They shake you, stretch you, soften you. They may not stay, but they serve. Even heartbreak carries wisdom if you're willing to ask the right question. Who did I become through this? Did you find your voice? Learn to set boundaries? Discover parts of yourself you had long buried? Then the relationship wasn't a failure, it was a transformation. Jung taught that individuation, the journey toward wholeness, often requires encounters that challenge the ego and awaken the soul. These connections may not end the way you hoped, but they end in a way that shifts you. When we stop measuring love by longevity and start honoring it by depth, something beautiful happens. We release the need to control the outcome and begin to honor the experience. So if something is ending, don't only ask, "What did I lose?" Ask instead, "What was revealed?" Sometimes love's purpose isn't to give you a forever partner, but to bring you home to yourself. Because in the end, the real success of a relationship isn't in where it took you, but in who you became along the way. If this message stirred something deep in you, trust that. These moments of recognition, of quiet knowing, aren't random. They're reflections of something your soul already understands. When someone is truly meant for you, it won't feel like chasing. It'll feel like coming home. Whether they stay for a season or a lifetime, their presence awakens something sacred within you. That's not just romance, it's transformation. If you found value in today's video, please give it a like. It really helps more people discover this kind of soul-centered content. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an insight like this again. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever met someone who felt like a soul recognition? What did it feel like, and how did it change you? Drop your story in the comments. I read every one of them, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Until next time, remember, real connection doesn't need to be explained. It only needs to be felt.